Alright, so I've done all the updates to my prop file for OS5 Beta. Frederick has moved OS5 into beta testing. I just added a brand new updated prop file. There's a lot of new stuff and there's a lot of changes to this version. So anyone who was testing in alpha, please just take a look at all the, I have a write-up on the TRA forum and in the description of this video because a lot has changed. A lot of the changes were to just improve everything, but if you're using it in alpha, there are changes. There's a lot more defines to allow for a lot of customization, but because of that, certain things that were automatic in the alpha are now have to be enabled with defines. So just read through all the write-up. I know it's going to be a lot, but there's just a lot of features coming. And for those who haven't tried alpha, this is going to be a demo of my prop file, so all the buttons and controls that come with my prop file, which is the Sabre Fett263 buttons that you would include in your config. But to enable a lot of the features, you're going to use defines. So those defines are all written out, and you just add them to the very top section of your config exactly as written, and they will enable it. So first and foremost, by default, my prop file will have battle mode, but battle mode will be only active by turning it on, or if you add gesture controls. So there's going to be a lot. This is going to be a long video, so bear with me. By default, you'll get battle mode. You won't have a gesture. So I took the gestures like swing on and twist off away from the default. If you want swing on, if you want twist off, if you want stab on, if you want twist on, or if you want the new thrust on, you're going to add them with defines. Now, by default, all of those gesture controls will enable battle mode automatically. But when you retract your blade, it'll actually now end battle mode. So in alpha, battle mode stayed active until you manually deactivated it. All retractions now will automatically deactivate it. And if you use the power button, so we'll start clean. If you just hit your power button, your blade ignites, battle mode is deactivated. So if I do my clash, I'll just get normal clashes. And same with all the other controls, they go back to the default. If you want to, so if you use just the power button, if you don't use any gestures, you can activate battle mode at any time while the blade is on. You're going to hold the aux button and swing. And there is a new sound, which is BM begin, which you can add, which for mine I have a short music play to let me know that battle mode is active. And you can add that. If you don't have that BM begin, and there's a lot of custom sounds you can add, it's going to fall back to using the force sound in your font. So aux and swing now has activated battle mode, and that's because I used the power button. Now when I hit, I'm going to get lockup until I pull away, or if you want to do a clash, you're going to hit and pull away right away. So you'll hit and pull away. So battle mode is now active. Now to deactivate battle mode, you can either retract. So if you retract, battle mode is now going to turn off, or you can hold aux and swing again, and this time there'll be a different sound. So again, there's a custom sound, BM end, and this one I think I just have a mechanical sound. I have a force push sound, which is really low. But now battle mode is deactivated. Alright, so that's just using the power button. So now I'll retract with the power button. The other thing I've done, the power button is no longer automatically disabled in battle mode. That was something that some people wanted, some people didn't, so that's also now defined. You can use a define to make it so that your power button does not turn the saber off while in battle mode. You'll use a define for swing on. Now, by default, there's actually going to be multiples of all these gestures. There's going to be just the swing on. When I use swing on, I'm in battle mode automatically. So I get that automatic battle mode. I also have twist off. You can also do the new thrust on, which is a forward thrust. So any of the gestures, thrust on, stab on, twist on, or swing on, they're going to, by default, activate battle mode. But, more customization, there's actually different defines that will let you use the gestures but not automatically activate battle mode. And there, it's like Fett263 swing on, no BM. That means that you can use swing on, it'll work, but it doesn't automatically activate battle mode. And then, in addition to that, the new fast on feature also, there's going to be the option for you to activate or deactivate that by gestures also in the defines. I'll show that a little bit later. So I'm in battle mode. While in battle mode, there's yet another define for the new feature I just showed yesterday, which is force push. If you activate force push, it's not automatic. You have to add the define for force push. While you're in battle mode, if you move your saber without changing the angle of it, moving your hilt towards your opponent with a quick kind of push gesture, you'll get a push sound, and it's push that way. If you don't have that, it'll play force that way. The gesture takes a little bit of practice, but it's basically, you don't want to jerk it because I got that lockup because I jerked it. It's just a forward push, and the amount of movement depends on your hilt, so a little bit of practice you'll get good at it, but it is a new feature, and it's enabled with that. And then of course, like I showed already, in battle mode your lockup is going to be automatic with a clash. If you hold against your opponent, you'll get lockup until you pull away. If you want to do a clash, it's just a hit and pull away. That'll be your clash. And then in addition, you also now melt is automatically active, so you get your melt effect until you pull away. And then drag in battle mode and in the regular mode is now a stab. It's not a downward clash, it's a stab down. You can move it, and when you lift away, it deactivates. So in battle mode, everything's gesture controlled, and then like I showed, you can deactivate battle mode holding aux and swing, and that's a very low sound, but there's a sound to signify it. So now my saber's back to normal, which means I would get my stab, so it doesn't do melt. And then to activate like melt and drag, again, you're going to go back to holding the aux button. Same with lockup. So with battle mode turned off, everything goes back to normal, where you'd hold aux to do lockup, you'll hold aux to do melt, you'll hold aux to do drag. So that's all there. So now we'll retract again, and then the thrust one is the new one. Thrust can be any movement, so you can point up, and it's just, you're basically pushing in the direction of the blade, and it will now ignite. So instead of the stab, which needed that hard clash to activate, thrust is just that movement along that way. And now again, I have thrust set so that it activates battle mode. In battle mode, both in battle mode and out of battle mode, you have lightning lockup the same. So lightning lockup on my prop file is holding the power button and clicking aux. And then when you release the power button, it'll deactivate lightning block, and that works exactly the same in both battle mode and regular operation. You also have the multi-blast. So multi-blast, now has a sound associated with it. So there's a blast begin and a blast end. So you can, instead of just using the blast sounds, you can actually add, quotes or some other sound. I actually forget what's in this font, but if you hold the aux button and release, oops. Okay, this one has the blast set on it. You'll get the ability now in multi-blast, every swing is going to be a blast deflection. So while in multi-blast mode, and this is good for both battle mode and normal operation, every time you swing your blade to deflect, you're going to get that blast effect. And you can end multi-blast either by doing a lockup, a clash, or any button press at all will deactivate. So any clash event or any button press will deactivate multi-blast automatically, and you can always go back into it just by holding your aux button and releasing. So now there is also yet another new feature. This new feature is the power save. So while your blade is ignited, power save is now activated. Your blade has to be pointing straight up. The angle is actually kind of tight on purpose, which I'll show in a minute. So you want your blade pointing up. You're going to hold aux and press power, and you have to have the power save style built into your preset. So that's a 50% power save, and it just dims the blade 50%. Now hopefully the camera picks it up. 50% is kind of, even to your eye, it's not that dim. But with power save, this one only has 2 levels. You're going to be able to pick as many levels as you want. You could do it 10% increments, 25% increments. This one just has 50% and 100%. But again, blade has to be pointing straight up for this one. You're going to hold aux, press power, and now it's back to 100%. Again, the camera, hopefully it's picking it up. So that's power save. Now, because the reason I made that perfectly straight up, or within a kind of a 10-degree pointing up, is because the holding aux and pressing power also does color change. So what I didn't want to do was make color change too inaccessible. So power save is pointing straight up, holding aux and power. color change is going to be anywhere not straight up. Hold aux, click power. And then this one has the color wheel built into it, so I can rotate the hilt. And then when you get to the color you want, you just click your power button again to lock it in. And then blast, other than multi-blast, is just your aux button. And that's the main controls while the blade is on. So let's turn it off. Now, while your blade is off, there's a lot of new features as well. The first is there's now a on-demand battery level. So you put a battery level style in your blade, and again, while off, you're going to hold aux and press power. It has a battery sound, and my battery's about 50%, and that style is set up to be height of the blade and color. It's all customizable, whatever style you put in for battery, so it can be anything you want. It can be just color, it can be a dot. I can move up the blade and down the blade. It can, you know, pretty much it's up to your imagination. But to do the on-demand battery check, again, it's holding the aux button and pressing power. And it gives you just an on-demand check of your battery. Now, that change, that addition has now changed your presets. So your presets now, while the blade is off, to advance a preset, you're going to just press aux, and that's with your blade horizontal or up. So next preset. Now if I want to go back a preset, the new control is actually pointing down and pressing aux.
Load data.
And that'll take me back to my original. So the presets, previous controls was the aux button went forward and holding aux and clicking power went backwards. Because I added the battery check on demand, now to go backwards in presets, you're just going to point your blade down and press aux. So that is a change. And then also while the blade is off, there is the volume menu. The volume menu now also has sounds for begin and end. So there's a VM, V as in Victor, begin and end. And that's a sound that will play when you enter the volume control. So to enter volume control, your blade is off, you're going to hold and release aux. That's the enter mode. Now, if you hit the aux button, it's going to decrease by 10% each time. And that beep signifies each step. And it's getting pretty low, you're not going to hear it. And then at the very end, it's actually so low, but there's a long beep when you get as low as you can, which is the 10% volume. Now, while still in the volume mode, if you want to make it louder, you're just going to press your power button. And then that longer beep, that means that I'm now back at 100%. And this saber's a little loud, so for this video I'm going to actually lower it again, just so you guys hear me. And then to get out of the volume menu, so some people don't know what those beeps mean. That means you're in the volume menu. You're just going to hold and release the aux button, and then you'll hear the VM end sound. So now I'm out of the volume menu. So those are the main controls for my new prop file. Now there's a lot more, particularly with the customization. So actually let me let's do this. Oh, I did forget, multi-phase is also on here. So actually we're going to use multi-phase. So multi-phase lets you do a preset change while your blade is ignited. So to do the multi-phase, you're going to hold your aux button and twist. Now I wanted to show this. This has a Preon. So with multi-phase, if you have a Preon, it's going to play. But if you use the gesture controls, you can actually go without the Preon. So that was regular ignition. If I do the power button in this preset, it's also going to do the Preon effect and sound. Alright, but let's turn it off. If you use the normal gesture controls, swing on, stab on, thrust on, it skips the Preon sound and the effect. And that's the new fast on feature that I added. That's by default on any of the gesture ignitions because it made sense. But again, lots of customization. You can actually do, there's a different define, which is the swing on or twist on or thrust on or stab on Preon. And what that will do is it'll allow you to have the gesture but keep the Preon. And again, there's a lot of write-up because there's so much customization that there's all these different options. Now there's also a few defines that you won't be able to use together. You can't use like stab on, or you can't use swing on and swing on Preon because they both do different things. So I've spelled it all out in the defines, but certain defines will say or. If they say or, that means you cannot use those two together. There is actually an error message that will actually come up in the compile. I've written an error message with Frederick's help so that when you go to compile, if you have two defines that conflict, it's going to kick an error message during the upload. But I wanted to also show that. So lots of customization, lots of options. Battle mode is always going to be present, but again, by default in the prop file, your battle mode is only going to be active if you hold aux and swing to get in and out. If you add the gestures, the normal swing on, normal stab on, normal thrust on, or twist on, it will automatically activate battle mode. But there's also other defines that won't activate battle mode, but still let's use the gestures. But I've got everything tested out. Everything is now ready for beta. Frederick just added this file, so I'll have all my instructions written out along with this video. As you're testing, any odd experiences, any bugs, please report on the TRA thread so they can be dealt with. The goal of beta is obviously to have as many people testing it as possible, get everything proven out, and then once it's all solid, that's when Frederick will basically say it's good to go for full release. But a lot of changes for my prop file, a lot of changes for battle mode, so I just wanted to make sure that I have everything written out and I explained, particularly again for those who helped out during alpha testing, that there are changes, so you do have to make sure that you read up on the current file so that you're using it all as expected. But I put a lot of stuff in here. I'm excited to share it with everybody, and I hope you all enjoy, so thanks so much.